So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this one-sided ruffled dress with one shoulder. So we're going to start with the skirt part. So basically we are going to cut a pencil skirt. So this is the pattern I'm using. As you can see, it's folded into two, and the back panel is also folded into two, and the width of the front panel is just the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1, and then for the back I added an extra 1.5 to it for the zip allowance. So now the first thing I'm going to do is to measure from my waist to my hip. I'm going to use about 9.5 here. um so guys, also this here is going to be the length of the skirt, because remember, you're going to measure based on the pointiest part of the skirt. That's the longest part, because one side is asymmetrical. So you're going to use the longest part, so that after cutting it, then you can reduce the other side of it. So that's why I'm using about 18 inches here, plus 1 inch of seam allowance, for half an inch for joining the end and half an inch for joining the top part to the dress, half an inch for joining the bottom part to the ruffle. That's why I have 19 here, but I will end up with 18 when I'm done. So now the next thing is to go ahead and, so guys, to insert my waist measurement, I'm going to divide my waist by 4, and then I'm going to mark that here, and then I'm going to add extra 2 inches, 1 inch of seam allowance and 1 inch of darting, and then I'm going to come in here by about 4.5. I'm going to use the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 4. I added extra half an inch to it. So, and then I'm going to mark my dart. So my dart is going to stop 2 inches before here, which is going to be at 7.5, somewhere down here. Mark it all the way down, and then half an inch on both sides. So this is basically my dart. I'm going to also go ahead and notch this so that I can be able to transfer this dart to the back and then to the front also. Guys, the next thing you're going to do is just to mark your hip measurement. Like I said, the width of this fabric here is my hip measurement directly. So I'm going to just mark it, and then connect this part to connect the waist to the hip, and then come down to this end here, and then subtract 1 inch from the width of this part, because the hip measurement here, which is the full length of this here, is also what I have at the bottom. So I'm going to subtract 1 inch from it, so that I can be able to make it a pencil skirt, and then I'm going to connect this part here down to this point. So guys, after that now, so guys, I'm just going to go ahead now and cut all the way from here to this point. So guys, now as you can see, I've cut out the sides of my skirt. So now I'm going to open it up so that I can cut one side shorter. So guys, as you can see, I've placed the back just like how I'm supposed to sew it. I placed the back at the behind this one here. This is the front of the skirt. So all I have to do now is to measure myself where I want the length of the other side to be. This is going to be my longer side, so this is the shorter side. I need to measure what length I want that side to be. So this one is going to be 18. So let's say I decide to make this one here about 15 or 14, depending on you. So whatever you decide to do, I might do 15 because of seam allowance. So when I take away half an inch, I might end up with 14.5. So after that, I'm going to just connect it all the way to the end here. Like 1 inch before the end is what I'm going to do, because remember, you still need about 1 inch of seam allowance on this side, right? 1 inch of seam allowance going up all the way like this. So I'm just going to do 1 inch before the end. So somewhere here, I'm going to just connect a straight line across this way. So guys, I know you might be looking at it and the asymmetric the asymmetric part is not showing because the line is almost straight. But guys, if the one on the picture looks like it's directly below her hip, if you want, you can also do directly below your hip. It's just that I don't want it to ride up as I'm walking, because if you have more hip and you're more on the bigger side, if you make it shorter, then when you're walking, it will ride up even more. So that's why I brought mine down a little, but I can still take it up a little bit more. I can still get away with going up a little bit more. But if I make it directly like maybe 2 inches below my hip, it will be too much and it will be uncomfortable to wear, because this whole part here is going to be open. It's just the only thing covering it is just the ruffle, so I don't want it to ride up so much, so I'm going to just cut out this part and I'm okay with it this way. So guys, this is it here. So this is what I'm working with, so I'm going to remove this part. So you see my skirt now. I also went ahead and cut out what will be my ruffle, so you can go ahead and measure round from this part of your skirt all the way down, and then all the way to this part times 2, right? That's for the front and the back. Whatever you get as the length, you're going to do maybe times 2.5 of that, so that you can get enough fabric. So because as you can see, mine is a lot here. I cut a lot of it here, so I'm going to gather it all together and then join it. The length I'm working with here is just 12 inches, because I still need to fold 1 inch of 1 inch to for the end, and then I need half an inch to join it to the bottom here. So the length I have here is just 12 inches. So I'm going to go ahead now, gather this together and attach it to the bottom of this skirt, and then also pick my dart. Once I come back, then we'll face the top part of this. This is it here. I've gone ahead and attached the ruffle. So I first attach the skirt together this way, even the back. The only part I left open is this side, because this side now I'm going to close it up with this gather. So the side with the shorter part is where I left open, and as you can see, I left up about 5 inches or 6 inches at the top, because if you look at the waist, you will notice that the top part here was pleated, like it was pleated this way and then it falls this way. So I left about 5 inches in front and like 1 inch at the back, so that I can be able to join these two together at the top, join it together at the top, and then pleat it so that it falls over this way, and then I'll sew it down on the waist of the skirt. But before that, what I'm going to do now is just to take, you see how I joined this thing? I sewed it on top of my skirt, right? I sewed it on top of my skirt on this side, and then I marked the 1 inch first before sewing it down. So but at the edge here, I used half an inch to join it at the edge, but coming to the side, because it's 1 inch that I left for the side of the skirt, I tried to sew just very close to that 1 inch. So now what I'm going to do is this whole gather will be out, and then I'm going to take these two together this way, put it inside like this, and then start from the beginning here, join the two sides of my skirt together. And so what I'm going to do now is just to go now and sew the side of my skirt together. So you see where that gather is, all these parts here, I moved the ruffle inside of the skirt. So now I'm just going to go back in and sew close my 1 inch of side seam all the way to the edge of this skirt. So I'm going to close it all the way to the edge of the skirt, and once I flip it out, you will see that the ruffle is on the inside. So guys, I've sewn close the side, and as you can see, all the ruffle from the small ruffle that I used to attach it is on the inside of this side seam here. So now once I flip it to the front, you'll see what it looks like. So guys, this is what it looks like. Guys, for more flay, try to use more fabric, right? If you want more flay at the edge of yours, use more fabric. But this style has already taken 3 yards of my fabric, so I don't have much more to give. So if you have like 3.5 or so, that would be better, so that you can get enough gather to go around the side of your skirt. But mine is not enough. As you can see, the gather is not even that much, but I'll manage it that way. So this is what I have at the moment. So the side is closed this way, you see. So all I have to do now is just to go back in now and join these two sides that I left, right? If I had more fabric, I would have done like 6 inches, so that once I'm done, I'm going to like 6 or 7 inches in front, and then like 1 inch at the back, so that I can use it to be able to fold this here. So once I join the two together, then I'll attach it to the waist this way, so that it can fall over. If you look at her own, you will see that there's a pleat on the side of the waist that falls over on top of her clothes. So now we are done with the skirt. This is the back here. We have our zip allowance at the back too. So now what we have to do is to cut the top. So guys, now we are going to cut the top part of this top. So we are going to start with the back panel. Guys, you can just cut. I already have several videos on how to cut one shoulder bodice. You can use just the plain waist dart, or you can use princess dart. So for this video, I'm going to use princess dart, but I might not go detailed into it, because I already have a detailed video and a drafted pattern on how to do that. So first thing you're going to do is to cut out the fabric you need. The width of my fabric here is just the bust measurement plus like extra 4 inches just to be safe for the extra seam allowances I'll need. So, and then the shoulder to waist is what I have here plus about 1.5 inches or 1 inch depending on you. So now I'm going to first mark half an inch at this top part. So guys, the first thing I'm going to do is to separate the back and the front so that we can start with the front first. So on the shoulder, you're going to mark your shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 16 divided by 2 is 8. I mark 8 now. So I'm going to bring it down here by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. And then after my shoulder slope, I'm going to insert my armhole divided by 2, which is going to be 9 inches. I'm going to mark that here. And then after that, I'm going to connect the two together on a straight line. So guys, after that, I'm going to go up here and insert my neckline. So the neckline I'm working with, I'm going to just mark 3 inches here and then connect my shoulder slope to this point. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and insert my bust measurement divided by 4, which is going to be 10.5. I'm going to mark that here. And then after that, the next thing you're going to do is find halfway through this armhole, which was 9 for me. So halfway through that is 4.5. I'm going to come in here by half an inch. And then I'm going to connect it with a straight line all the way to the top. And then with a curve from this armhole to this point. So guys, now that I've marked that, I'm also going to go ahead and measure from my shoulder to my breast point, which happens to be 10 inches here. And then from that point, I'm also going to measure from my shoulder to under bust, which is about 13.5. I'm going to mark that here. And then my shoulder to waist, which is 17.5 here. So guys, the next thing you're going to do is to mark your nipple to nipple measurement. So this is my bust line, my under bust line, and my waistline. So on this point here, I'm going to divide the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with by 2. And then I'm going to add, so plus half an inch, I'm going to mark that here. And then I'm also going to mark it. So 4.5 is what I'm marking here. And then I'm also going to mark it down here. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in here, and once I connect my straight line across, the next thing I'm going to do 1.5 here. Guys, if you're more on the bigger side, you can do 2 inches. I'm going to do the bustier side. I'm going to do just 1.5 from here, distance of 1.5 from here to here. Connect the two together, and then on this line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch before this line, like before this, where this line joins this other one, and then I'm going to give it a curve this way, right? And then after that, on this curved line now, I'm going to measure what I have. So I have about 10.5. So half of 10.5 is going to be somewhere here. So you're going to measure that, your armhole, current armhole now, and then find halfway through that. So for me, that's going to be somewhere here. And then I'm going to mark it. And after marking it, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and connect it in a straight line to this point. So just take your ruler and connect it in a straight line to this point here. So I've marked mine now. And then after that, you're going to come here, and then you're going to split about 1.5 on each side. If you're more on the bigger side, then do 1 inch on both sides. So I'm going to do 1.5 on each side. So that will be, I'll mark it here, and then I'll also mark it somewhere here. And then after that, I'm going to just connect them to this point. So, but you're going to stop again 1 inch before that. So 1 inch above and then 1 inch below. So you're going to connect it to this point here, and then connect the top one to this point here. So after that, now what you're going to do is this lower line. I know you cannot see this anymore because of the chalk, but guys, I already have a video detailed video on a pattern paper that explains it better. So the lower line now, whatever you split between them, if it's 2 inches, then you're going to extend this lower line by 2 inches. But it's split 1.5, so I'm going to extend it by 1.5, which is here. That's from the end of that line to this point, and then I'm going to add back that 1.5 after this line here, I'm going to add back 1.5. So now this is going to be my new armhole. Connect it to that lower line. This is now my new armhole. After that, you're going to add in about 2 inches for your seam allowance. Mark that here. And then, so now basically the line I have here is the bust measurement divided by 4, which is marked here 10.5, and then plus extra 1.5, which came from this extension that we took here. I also extended it here, and then extra 2 inches. Then the next thing you're going to do is your waist measurement divided by 4, which is going to be like 8.5 for me. And then you're going to insert back this measurement that you took away from here, which is 1.5. Put it back. And then you're going to now add back 2 inches of sewing allowance. So that's it here. After that, you're just going to connect from the waist to the bust. So that now we finished everything, we are going to go ahead and start cutting it out. So guys, this is it here. Now the next thing I also want to do here is just to go back at this top part here and add half an inch for the shoulder, so that like I'm supposed to add this half an inch here so that I can be able to join the shoulder together. So just add back half an inch here, and then I'm going to just cut it out. So guys, we finished the front. Now leave the neckline this way until we finish cutting the back, then we'll come back for the neckline. So guys, for the back we are just going to use the basic darts. So the same seam allowance is what we have here, the same bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 4 inches. I've already marked my zip allowance at the back, about 1.5 or 1 inch depending on you. So the next thing you're going to do is just to draw your basic body. So I'm going to draw my shoulder in, which is 8 then I also marked 1 inch of shoulder slope, and then after that I'm going to mark my armhole, which is at 9 inches. Mark it this way and then connect it all the way up to this point. And then after that I'm going to just mark my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5 here. I'm going to mark that, and then I'm also going to add like 1 inch of sewing allowance to the side. And then after that, come down to the waist, mark waist divided by 4, and then I'm also going to go back and add 2 inches here. This is going to be my 1 inch of darting and 1 inch of side seam allowance, and then I'm going to connect it together. So that's basically it. Give it a curve for my armhole, and then I have my shoulder slope. I'm just going to mark 3 inches here and then connect this 1 inch to this top part here, and then also go ahead and add half an inch to join the shoulder. So I've marked half an inch to join the shoulder, and then my dart is going to come in here. The same nipple to nipple measurement is what you're going to use, but my dart is going to go all the way up to my chest line somewhere here, and then mark half an inch on both sides and connect it. So that's basically it for my back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this excess right now so that we can cut the one shoulder. So guys, this is it here. As you can see, I pinned down the zipper allowance so that I can be able to place this exactly like how it would be if I was wearing it. And then the next thing is to get the picture so that you know the particular side that needs to be so guys, this is the dress here. So this particular side, I need to go back in and put my skirt so that I know where it's supposed to be. So I've placed it. So my skirt, the ruffled part is on this side, right? So that means my sleeve is going to be on this side. So my one shoulder is going to be this side. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So you see, I placed the shoulder together so that I don't make any mistakes. So now this is the tip of my shoulder somewhere here. So I'm going to go back in now and come down here. It depends on you how much you need to come down on this part. As you can see, her own has like a high neckline, so almost like, let's say 3.5 inches down from her neck, the center part. So now I'm going to just go ahead and connect from one side of the shoulder to this point, one side of the shoulder, connect it to this 3 points, and then I'm going to blend it into the armhole this way. If you want yours to go lower than that, then you can also do that, but I don't want mine. I want to make mine just like how high her own is, and then I'm going to blend it into this armhole. So that's basically it. So at this point now, I just need to go ahead and cut this out. So just go ahead and cut from this side all the way out. This is what it looks like. I've cut this part out, so all I have to do now is just to join the two sides together in front and join the two sides together on this side. Pick my dart and then use bias to finish it up, but if you have lining you can also do that. Guys, this is it here. I finished it, so I joined it to the bottom part, and then this is what I was trying to explain. That excess that was remaining, I joined the two of them together and then pleated it in between here and joined the top to it. So you see what this side looks like, so that it's going to drop this way. So that's basically it for this top here. I used bias to finish up mine, and then this is the bottom part. So once you open it, it looks something like this on the inside. Guys, like I said before, you can curve yours more if you want to, but I'm okay with the way mine looks. So, and also try to use more gather. So guys, also this is the back. I cut my sleeve, attached a sleeve to it. It depends on you what you want to do with the top part of yours. I'm also going to attach a video on how to cut a sleeve. So that's basically it for my dress here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.